the 80-year war that shaped Egyptian mythology. After losing his claim to the throne, Seth was sentenced to accompany Ra on his nightly journey. Ironically, he became Ra's protector, defeating Apophis time and again, ensuring the sun's return. Ra was worshipped across all Egypt, but especially revered in the city of Heliopolis. His influence was so vast that other supreme gods, like Ammon and Atum, were merged with him, becoming Amun-Ra and Atum-Ra. Pharaohs often adopted his name to affirm their divine right to rule. Ramses, for instance, means son of Ra. Anubis, the jackal-headed god, was one of the oldest deities in Egypt, initially the god of the dead and ruler of the underworld. That role eventually passed to Osiris. Still, Anubis remained the god of embalming and mummification. Priests often wore jackal masks during burial rituals. Anubis was the son of Nephthys and Osiris, born after Nephthys disguised herself as Isis and deceived Osiris. When Seth learned of this, he killed Osiris and scattered his remains. Anubis helped Isis recover and preserve Osiris' body. Performing the first mummification, Anubis guided souls to the underworld to be judged. He placed the deceased's heart on one side of a scale and the feather of truth on the other. If the heart was heavier, full of sin, the soul was devoured by Mit, a demonic beast. If the heart was lighter, the soul was righteous, and Anubis led it to Osiris for eternal life. During Greek rule, Anubis was merged with Hermes, forming Hermanubis, the guide of souls, worshipped well into the Roman period. Bastet, the cat goddess, had the body of a woman and the head of a cat. Egyptians held cats in the highest regard, seeing them as sacred protectors against rats and venomous snakes stalked by day. Bastet accompanied Ra in his solar boat at night. She transformed into a vigilant cat and protected the sun god from Apophis. Harming a cat was a terrible crime, punishable by death. Cats were beloved family members. Some legends tell of cats running into burning homes to save people, though seemingly perish in flames. They were resurrected by Bastet, giving rise to the legend of cats having 9 lives. Cats were often mummified, and special cemeteries were dedicated to them. In some versions, Bastet was a peaceful form of the lioness goddess Sekhmet, who was once bloodthirsty but later tamed. In others, they were sisters, both daughters of Ra. Even after the gods faded from memory, cats continue to gaze upon humanity, waiting for the day they are worshipped once more. From the primordial mound Benben and the birth of Ra, the Egyptian gods emerged and clashed in an epic saga, leading to Osiris' tragic death and the 80-year struggle between Horus and Seth for the throne. This myth explains the origins of the earth, the Nile, mummification, and the eternal cycle of life and death that shaped ancient Egyptian belief. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss the next legendary story. In the beginning, there was nothing. The universe was a vast chaotic ocean. From this primal chaos emerged Benben, a massive pyramid-shaped mound. Atop Benben bloomed a lotus flower, and from its blossom came the god Ra, bringing light into the world. Ra, by his own power, gave birth to the first generation of gods, Shu, the god of air, and Tefnut, the goddess of moisture. The universe was still submerged in the endless waters of creation. Shu and Tefnut dove into the depths to explore its vastness. Ra became troubled when his children did not return. Fearing he might never see them again, he sent his most faithful messenger to find them. When Shu and Tefnut returned safely, Ra was so overjoyed that human beings were born from his tears. Later, Shu and Tefnut gave birth to Geb, the god of the earth, and Nut, the goddess of the sky. Thus the sky and the earth came into being. Ra reigned over the universe with absolute power, and was honored with the title of the first pharaoh. He gifted Egypt with sacred animals such as the ox and the lion. But his greatest gift was the Nile River, round which mankind would build a civilization that glorified the gods. However, Ra had a vision. His grandchildren would give rise to a new generation of gods who would end his rule. To prevent this, he forbade Geb and Nut from having children. But they defied him, giving birth to four powerful deities, Isis, Nephthys, Seth, and Osiris. These gods overthrew Ra, and Osiris took the throne of the world. But the new ruler's reign was threatened, for his brother Seth hungered for power, and thus the epic saga of the Egyptian gods began. After deposing Ra, Osiris, the god from whom the Egyptian world originated, became the new supreme deity. He married the goddess Isis and ushered in an era of great prosperity. Osiris taught humanity agriculture, weaving, and how to bake bread. He established laws to bring order to chaos, and under his rule, Egyptian civilization flourished. But his brother Seth, whose kingdom lay in the barren desert, was envious of Osiris' fertile and abundant lands. Osiris had also secretly fathered a child with Nephthys, Seth's wife, giving rise to Anubis, the god of the dead. Enraged by betrayal, Seth plotted revenge. He invited Osiris to a grand feast and presented a beautiful coffin, saying it would belong to whoever fit inside it perfectly. Osiris laid down inside, and Seth sealed the coffin shut, casting it into the Nile and drowning his brother. Isis mourned her beloved husband, and her tears caused the Nile's annual floods. Together with Nephthys, she searched for Osiris' body. Upon finding it, she tried to hide it, but Seth discovered it and tore it into 40 pieces, scattering them across Egypt. With Anubis' help, Isis recovered each piece. Following ancient funerary rites, Anubis embalmed Osiris, and Isis used a divine magic to resurrect him, though alive again. Osiris could no longer walk among the living and became ruler of the underworld. From their union, Isis and Osiris had a son, Horus, who swore to reclaim the throne from Seth. The usurper, Seth, god of destruction, had murdered Osiris and seized the throne. But Horus, falcon-headed god and rightful heir, had grown into a strong and courageous warrior. Prophecy foretold he would rule the sky and return light to Egypt. Ending Seth's reign of darkness, the gods convened a divine court, presided over by Ra, to decide who deserved the throne. Meanwhile, Horus and Seth engaged in many trials and battles. Ra favored Seth, who had once protected the sun god's boot from the serpent Apophis. In one contest, Seth proposed that they transform into hippopotamuses and stay underwater for 3 months. Horus depended on his mother Isis, who attempted to exploit Seth's vulnerability and kill him. But her compassion stopped her. Horus, furious at her mercy, attacked his mother and cut off her head. Thoth, god of wisdom, restored her by giving her the head of a cow. The rivalry continued for years in the desert. Seth tore out Horus' eyes, but the goddess Hathor healed his vision. The gods, weary of the conflict, urged reconciliation. Seth, pretending to make peace, invited Horus to a banquet. That night, he tried to sexually assault Horus, hoping to dishonor him and make him unworthy of the throne. But Horus resisted and thwarted the attempt. In revenge, Horus, with Isis' help, secretly placed his divine seed in a dish of lettuce, which Seth unknowingly consumed. The god of the desert became ill, and a golden disk emerged from his forehead. Thoth took the glowing disk and placed it on his own head. After 80 long years, the gods declared Horus the rightful king. Isis beamed with pride as her son ascended the throne once held by his father. Seth, humiliated, was condemned to sail with Ra across the sky forever. His furious screams heard in the rumble of thunder. Ra, the sun god of Egyptian mythology, is often depicted with a man's body and a falcon's head, crowned with a solar disk. Once the mightiest of gods, he grew weary with age and withdrew to the heavens. Each day, Ra sailed across the sky in his solar boat, lighting the world. At dusk, he descended into the underworld, journeying through 12 gates, the 12 regions of the afterlife. Spending 1 hour in each dot in one of these regions, he visited Osiris, lord of the underworld. But before Ra could exit the darkness, the monstrous serpent Apophis attacked his boat. One day, Apophis managed to swallow the sun boat, extinguishing the sun. This marked a solar eclipse, but she could not hold Ra and regurgitated him.